The lights in the studio pulsed with an electric energy, the audience buzzing with anticipation. It was a typical Thursday evening, but for the families gathered there, it was a day that would forever alter their lives. A resounding cheer erupted as the host, Steve Harvey, stepped onto the stage, his welcoming smile radiating warmth. "Welcome to Family Feud," he boomed, his voice echoing through the expansive room. But beneath the surface of that familiar melody lurked a tension that was palpable, a quiet storm waiting to unfold. At center stage stood the Johnson family, their faces a mix of excitement and anxiety. Maria Johnson, the matriarch, clutched her daughter, Jessica Johnson's, hand tightly, as if drawing strength from her. Maria had raised her 3 children alone after losing her husband, Tom Johnson, to illness 5 years prior. It had been a struggle, but family was everything to her, and this moment on national television was a testament to their resilience. Yet, behind the smiles, there lingered an unspoken conflict, the fear of judgment, the worry that their story wouldn't resonate, or worse, that it would be overshadowed by triviality. Across the stage, the rival team, the Smith family, exuded a different energy entirely. Led by the boisterous patriarch, George Smith, the team was a whirlwind of confidence. George was the kind of man who thrived in the spotlight, his boisterous laughter filling the air as he bantered with Steve. But as the game commenced, it became increasingly clear that their laughter masked a darker undercurrent. George's cutthroat ambition to win at all costs, even if it meant belittling the Johnsons in the process. As the game unfolded, the questions posed by Steve took on a life of their own. The first question seemed innocuous enough. Name something a mother might do to keep her child safe. Maria buzzed in with confidence, her heart racing. "Teach them about stranger danger," she declared, her voice steady, but the weight of her words hung in the air. George's team snickered, their eye-rolling almost audible. Steve, ever the mediator, flashed a reassuring smile, but the glimmer in his eyes spoke volumes. He could sense the brewing storm. Then, in an unexpected twist, came the question that would change everything. Name something that makes a family strong. As the words echoed through the studio, an eerie silence fell. It was a moment that felt suspended in time. Maria's heart raced as she pondered what to say. She had lived through so much, yet the pressure mounted as she felt the eyes of the audience and her rival family upon her. Finally, Maria buzzed in. "Love," she said, her voice trembling but fierce. "Love is what keeps us together, even in the toughest times." The answer hung there, almost like a fragile glass ornament, shimmering with the weight of truth. The audience erupted into applause, but George's laughter cut through like a knife. "That's cute, but love doesn't pay the bills," he spat, a sneer plastered across his face. In that moment, the atmosphere shifted. Steve's brow furrowed as he sensed the tension rising. It was a classic Family Feud moment gone awry, the kind of spontaneous drama that television producers dreamed of, yet the stakes were far higher than mere entertainment. Maria's expression hardened, the warmth of her earlier confidence replaced by the chill of confrontation. "Family isn't about money, George," she shot back, her voice rising. "It's about being there for each other, through thick and thin, something you wouldn't understand." The audience gasped collectively, the tension crackling like electricity in the air. Was this really happening on live television? Steve, caught off guard, glanced between the two families, the sense of duty curling in his chest. Okay, let's keep it friendly here, folks," he interjected, trying to douse the flames of animosity. But the damage was done. The rivalry had morphed into something deeper, something more personal. And as the game progressed, it became clear that Maria was not just fighting for points. She was fighting for her family's honor, for the memory of Tom Johnson, and for the right for love to be recognized as a cornerstone of strength, rather than a punchline. Just as it seemed the tension could no longer simmer, Steve leaned in closer to Maria. "What's your story, Maria? Why is love so important to you?" he asked, his voice low and genuine. The cameras zoomed in on her face, a mix of surprise and vulnerability washing over her. Could she share the pain of her past? Would she allow the world to see the cracks in her carefully crafted facade? The audience held its breath, and for a moment, all that existed was the connection between Maria and Steve. There was no audience, no bright lights, no rival families. Just a man seeking to understand and a woman on the brink of revealing her heart. But Maria hesitated, the weight of her emotions threatening to spill over. The camera captured every micro-expression on her face. The flicker of fear, the glimmer of hope. The world was about to witness something profound, something that transcended the game, something that echoed the very essence of what it meant to be a family. Yet, the question lingered in the air, a looming specter. Could she find the courage to share her truth? As the moment stretched on, the audience, the families, and even Steve could sense the stakes had never been higher. Would the greatest answers ever spoken on Family Feud emerge from this fragile moment? Or would they dissolve into the chaos of competition? The answer was just waiting to be revealed, and the lives of both families hung in the balance. As the seconds dragged on, Maria's heart raced, her thoughts a tumultuous storm of fear and hope. She felt the weight of the audience's gaze, their anticipation wrapping around her like a suffocating blanket. Could she really take this leap? Her family, seated behind her, exchanged glances filled with encouragement. Yet the pressure mounted, and Maria was acutely aware of the cameras capturing every moment. Steve Harvey stood poised at the podium, his trademark grin faltering as he sensed the shift in the atmosphere. He leaned in, curiosity glinting in his eyes. "Maria," he prompted gently, his voice steady but laced with tension. "Everyone's waiting. You've got this." But his words felt like a double-edged sword. Maria could see the excitement in Steve Harvey's face, the way he thrived on the thrill of competition. It was as if he was a hawk, watching her every move. Could he truly understand what she was about to reveal? Was he just another obstacle in her path, a charismatic barrier that she needed to break through to find her truth? Taking a deep breath, Maria summoned the courage to speak. "Steve," she began, her voice quaking but resolute, "I have to tell you something that goes beyond the game." A ripple of surprise swept through the studio audience. The atmosphere shifted once again. The collective breath was held tight in anticipation, a palpable energy hanging in the air. Steve tilted his head, intrigued yet cautious, a flicker of concern crossing his face. "Well, what is it, Maria? We're all ears." She hesitated, her heart pounding as the words danced on the tip of her tongue. But the fear of judgment loomed large. "It's about my family. It's about why I'm here today," she admitted, each word a deliberate step into vulnerability. In the silence that followed, Steve's demeanor changed. No longer the confident, jovial host, he became the compassionate interviewer, poised to understand the depths of her story. Yet, Maria could see the competitive glint in his eyes flicker back to life as he sensed the opportunity to elevate the show. "You know, sometimes people share deeply personal things on this stage, and it makes for compelling television," he said, a slight smirk returning. "But we can't forget, this is still Family Feud." Her stomach dropped. Was he trivializing her pain for the sake of entertainment? An inner fire ignited within her. She would not let Steve Harvey's persona overshadow her truth. "This isn't just entertainment for me, Steve. This is the reality of my life. I want to share something that could change everything," Maria rebuffed, her tone firm. The audience gasped collectively. With every second that passed, Maria felt her resolve building. She was not only fighting for her own voice but for others who had struggled in silence. "You can keep the game alive, but my story deserves a chance to breathe," she declared, frustration and passion intertwining in her voice. Steve raised an eyebrow, the playful glimmer dimming as he considered her words. He was taken aback. the tension thickening like fog in the studio. Okay, okay. He relented, adjusting his stance. Let's hear it, then. What's this story you need to tell? As she prepared to delve deeper, Maria felt an unexpected wave of empathy wash over her. She understood that Steve was caught in a web of expectations, entertainment, ratings, and his own persona. Yet, there was a flicker of understanding in his gaze, a recognition that this moment transcended the typical game show banter. Maria took a deep breath, her heart pounding louder than the applause of the audience. When I was a child, my family faced unimaginable hardships, she started, her voice trembling with emotion. We lost everything, and it was the love of my family that kept us afloat. But one day, my father was in a car accident, and everything changed. Suddenly, I had to be the strong one. I had to take care of my siblings, and I've carried that weight ever since. With each revelation, the studio plunged into a deep stillness, the audience hanging on her every word. Maria could see Steve's expression shifting, no longer merely a game show host but a human being confronted with raw vulnerability. Yet, an internal battle raged within her. Was Steve still the antagonist in this moment? She sensed his struggle to balance the show's spirit with the gravity of her story. Maria! Steve interrupted gently, his voice softer. This is heavy, and I appreciate you sharing this with us. But how does this tie into why you're here today? The shift in his tone both surprised and comforted her. She took a moment, glancing at her family, their faces etched with concern and encouragement. I'm here to show them that even in the darkest times, love can prevail. I want to honor my father's memory, to show my siblings that it's okay to feel vulnerable, and that we can still find joy and strength together. The audience stirred, the emotional weight of her words resonating deeply. But Steve, ever the entertainer, pressed on, a spark igniting in his eyes. And Maria, winning this game could change your lives. There's a chance for a big prize, and I know you want that. She felt the tension resurface as the competitive spirit drummed steadily in the background. Steve, Maria replied, her voice steady as steel. I'm not just in this for the money. My truth is my power, and my family needs to hear that we can rise above. It's not just about winning. It's about healing. For a moment, the two locked eyes, the unspoken understanding passing between them like electricity. Steve's smile faltered. He was uncharacteristically silent, his expression shifting from competitive host to supportive ally. You're right, Maria, he conceded, his demeanor softening. This is bigger than Family Feud. This is about what really matters. The atmosphere shifted again, the stakes evolving into something far more profound. Maria could feel the support of the audience swell, the tension transforming into something beautiful, a collective embracing of her truth. Yet the game was not over. The clock was still ticking, and time was slipping away. We're running short, but we need to make a decision, Steve said, glancing at the producer off stage, sensing the urgency. Do you want to keep going with this, or do you want to return to the game? With her heart racing, Maria felt a pang of fear return. Would she lose her moment if she chose the game? But as she looked back at her family, eyes wide, filled with hope, she realized what truly mattered. Let's finish what we started. I won't let fear dictate my story, she affirmed, a newfound strength coursing through her. Steve nodded, a newfound respect emerging in his expression. All right then, let's show everyone how powerful this family can be, he said, turning toward the audience, his voice booming with renewed conviction. As the stage lights brightened, the tension hung in the air like a heavy fog, but Maria felt a shift within herself. She was no longer just a contestant on a game show. She was a beacon of resilience, and her story was just beginning. As the lights glared down upon her, bathing her in a radiant glow, Maria felt the weight of the world shift ever so slightly. The air in the studio was electric, pulsating with an unspoken connection that bridged her heart to the audience, and more importantly, to Steve Harvey. This was her moment, not just for herself, but for every person who had ever felt the sting of inadequacy in the face of their dreams. "Steve," Maria began, her voice steady despite the tumultuous waves of emotion crashing within her. "I've spent so much time trying to fit into a mold that others created for me. I thought I was chasing dreams, but I was really just running from myself." She took a deep breath, her eyes locking onto Steve's, revealing layers of vulnerability that had long been buried. "Today, I choose to embrace who I am, the good, the bad, and everything in between." For a heartbeat, the studio seemed to hold its breath. Steve Harvey, the man who had built his career on the art of entertainment, felt something shift within him, too. The persona of the charismatic host melted away as he regarded Maria not as a contestant, but as a fellow human being navigating the complexities of life. "Maria," Steve responded, his voice lower, infused with sincerity. "You know what? That's one of the greatest things I've ever heard on this stage. You're not just playing for points. You're playing for your truth." It was a moment of genuine connection, a powerful exchange that transcended the typical banter of the game show. The audience erupted into applause, the sound echoing like rolling thunder, filling the studio with an undeniable energy. Just then, the camera panned to the family members standing off stage, their faces illuminated with pride and admiration. Maria's mother, a woman who had endured countless trials, watched with tears in her eyes. This was the culmination of years of struggle, but also a moment of liberation. Her daughter was no longer shackled by expectation. She was flying free. As the applause subsided, an unexpected silence fell across the studio. Steve took a step closer, his expression serious yet warm. "You know what you need to do, right?" Maria nodded slowly, understanding dawning on her. "I need to share this journey with my family, to let them in on my truth. It's not just about me anymore." "Exactly. It starts here, right now," he encouraged, his tone gentle yet firm. "Don't just take this moment and leave it here. Take it home, make it a part of your life." With that, Maria turned to the camera, her gaze steady. "To my family," she began, "I love you. I know I've tried to be someone I thought you wanted me to be, but I've realized that the only way to truly connect with you is to be myself. I hope we can face everything together, as a family." The audience erupted once more, cheers mingling with a palpable sense of hope and belonging. In that moment, Maria felt the shackles of expectation dissolve. She wasn't just the daughter of her parents. She was Maria, a woman of strength and individuality. Hours passed after the show, but it felt surreal, as if time had looped back to allow her to bask in the aftermath of her revelation. The adrenaline still coursed through her veins as she exited the studio, surrounded by her family. Their smiles were radiant, each hug a testament to the bond they shared. In the days that followed, Maria's life began to shift in unexpected ways. Over the next few months, she took Steve's words to heart. She started opening up conversations with her family about their collective dreams and aspirations. They began to share stories long buried, fears unspoken, and laughter that had been missed. One evening, sitting around the dining table, her father finally spoke about his own dreams of becoming an artist, something he had abandoned to provide for the family. Maria encouraged him to pursue those dreams, turning the table from a mere meal into a hub of creativity and connection. They painted, sketched, and laughed together, discovering nuances of each other they had long neglected. As the months turned into years, Maria noticed a profound change, not just within herself, but within her family dynamics. They had transitioned from a household of unvoiced expectations to a sanctuary of acceptance. Maria's parents embraced their own identities, finding solace in their renewed passions. They traveled, explored new hobbies, and even hosted family art shows, showcasing their journey of self-discovery. Maria's relationship with Steve Harvey also blossomed into a unique friendship. They kept in touch, with Maria attending other episodes of Family Feud, where she became a source of inspiration for new contestants. Steve often credited her as a catalyst for change, bringing a fresh perspective to the show. Years later, Maria stood outside her family home, a place that had transformed along with them. The once familiar walls now radiated warmth and laughter. She recalled her journey, the fear, the uncertainty, but most importantly, the triumph of authenticity. In a world where appearances often overshadowed reality, Maria had learned that true connection stemmed from vulnerability. It was a lesson not just for her family, but for all who watched. As she reflected on the past, she realized that the most profound revelations often stemmed from simple moments of truth. Steve's reaction to her story remained a defining moment in her life, but it was the aftermath, the laughter shared, the dreams rekindled, and the bonds strengthened, that truly said everything. In the end, Maria had found her voice, and in doing so had illuminated the path for others to follow. She understood now that the greatest answers were not always the loudest declarations, but the quiet whispers of love and understanding shared among family.